34 points. 34 points. One player on this court looked like an MVP in the league. Look, I got to give the Fever credit. The Aces tried to make a run in the third quarter, and they went on the 11 key multiple players, including Caitlin Clark. Yeah, it's a pretty outstanding performance. If three people on this team could have at least show up and have a damn good showing, they would have a chance at winning.
Did the Indiana Fever just expose the Las Vegas Aces? Everyone thought this was going to be A'ja Wilson's victory lap, her MVP celebration night. Instead, the Fever, missing 6 players, including Caitlin Clark, walked right into the champs arena and turned it upside down. Kelsey Mitchell dropped a career-high 34, Aaliyah Boston shut down Wilson inside, and Vegas started to look desperate.
89-73, they went into Las Vegas and whipped the dog shit out of Las Vegas.
But here's the question you're probably asking. How did Indiana flip a coronation into chaos? That's what we're breaking down right now. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Everybody thought this series was over before it even started. No Caitlin Clark, half the Fever roster sitting out, and the defending champs waiting at home with the best player in the league ready to dominate. On paper, this was supposed to be a target practice game for Las Vegas, not even a question. But the second the ball tipped, it was clear Indiana never got that memo. They weren't limping into this matchup hoping for survival. They were running straight into the Aces arena with no fear, moving the ball with speed.
3-point range. First player ever to score 30-plus in the playoffs for the Fever since 2012.
And dragging Vegas completely out of rhythm. It didn't look like a team missing 6 players. It looked like a team that had been planning this counterpunch for weeks. The craziest part is how fast Indiana set the tone. Instead of letting the Aces grind them down with half-court sets and interior play, the Fever ran every time they had the chance. Off rebounds, off turnovers, even off makes, they pushed. Vegas barely had time to breathe before Indiana was already attacking again. It completely flipped the pace of the game, and suddenly the defending champs were chasing instead of controlling.
No run to end it, 28 points in the third, and that's where they won this game.
That's not supposed to happen. Nobody had imagined the Fever would flip the scoreboard in their favor simply by cranking the tempo and refusing to play at Vegas speed. And at the center of it all was Kelsey Mitchell. She wasn't just hot. She was unstoppable, dropping 34 points like the whole arena belonged to her. You could hear the disbelief in the crowd.
Kelsey Mitchell showed up in a big, huge way. 12 of 23, 34 minutes.
Every time another jumper fell, or when she split defenders to get to the rim. It wasn't fluky shots, either. It was calculated, confident attacks over and over. It felt like Mitchell had been waiting for this exact moment to remind people that she has been carrying Indiana for years before Clark ever arrived.
34 points. 34 points. One player on this court looked like an MVP in the league.
When she got rolling in the second and third quarters, Vegas had no answer. But Mitchell wasn't doing it alone. Odyssey Sims, the veteran guard who came back into the league this season, played like the perfect complement.
Natasha Howard, 12 points. Odyssey Sims threw in 17 points in this game. In case you're wondering.
When Mitchell was cooking, Sims ran the offense and made sure possessions didn't spiral. When Mitchell sat, Sims turned into the aggressor, driving into the teeth of Vegas defense, forcing fouls, and keeping Indiana's energy alive. Defensively, she never gave up easy looks, harassing the ball handler and cutting off Ace's passing lanes. She acted like the glue between the Fever's energy and their composure, which is exactly what you want from a veteran presence in a playoff atmosphere. Here's something you may not know. In playoff history, when the underdog takes Game 1, on the road, they go on to advance almost 3 out of 4 times. It's not just a fluke win. It often signals that the favorite just had their system exposed. That's what made this victory feel so much bigger than one night of hot shooting. Indiana showed that Vegas could be broken, and now the Aces have to scramble for an answer.
Look, I got to give the Fever credit. The Aces tried to make a run in the third quarter, and they went on the 11.
It honestly felt like the Fever walked into the arena, grabbed Vegas' game plan, and rewrote the script in front of everybody. The Aces are supposed to be the ones dictating tempo, outmuscling teams with Wilson inside and burning them with Jackie Young on the perimeter. Instead, Indiana used movement, physicality, and discipline to flip the entire storyline. Now don't think the Aces took that humiliation quietly. Wilson tried forcing her way into the paint possession after possession, but Aaliyah Boston stood her ground.
Jackie Young threw in 19 points. I've never seen anybody score 19 points and it not be noticeable.
Using her strength and timing to contest every shot. Wilson ended just 6 for 22 from the field, which is almost unheard of for someone of her caliber, and it was because Boston never gave her the easy lane she's used to seeing. On the outside, Lexi Hull stepped into the impossible defensive assignment of checking Jackie Young, and she stuck with her, cutting off drives, forcing tough step-backs, and making her work for every bucket.
Key multiple players, including Caitlin Clark. Yeah, it's a pretty outstanding performance.
That level of defensive commitment showed that this wasn't luck. It was a plan, executed perfectly by players who refused to be intimidated. But the battle was far from over. The Aces' frustration started to show through, and that's when things got messy. Bodies hit the ground harder, fouls got chippier, and the intensity pushed past normal playoff energy.
If three people on this team could have at least show up and have a damn good showing, they would have a chance at winning.
And this is where Caitlin Clark comes back into the story, because watching her teammates battle like that, without her on the floor, and seeing how Aya Wilson reacted to the pressure raised a lot of eyebrows. Fans, analysts, and Clark herself couldn't ignore what felt less like tough defense and more like crossing a line. That's where the conversation shifts next. This wasn't just another upset. It felt like Indiana showed that Vegas' so-called dominant style can be cracked wide open.
Really didn't matter now, did it? It didn't matter now, did it? Kelsey Mitchell, Odyssey. Look at that. Before I do that, Kelsey Mitchell, Odyssey Sims in the third. 22 points.
The Fever didn't ride luck. They beat the defending champs with a system, with grit, and with trust in players outside the spotlight. That sends a message about how strong their culture really is. Now add Caitlin Clark watching from the sidelines. She saw her teammates survive physical play, even what many fans are calling dirty tactics. That has to light a fire. So with Game 2 coming, do you think Vegas stays disciplined, or does Indiana rewrite the story again?